Yo, peace was good. Welcome to another hip hop album review. This is part 262. Happy Woo Wednesday. The album that I'll be reviewing today is Shyheim with his third album titled Manchild, released in 1999. I've mentioned this album before in past videos, so I finally got it. I showed you guys this album when I did my CD collection, I think about like over a month ago. And just wanted to show you guys because I might as well just show you guys the review because I did his first two albums. So if you haven't peeped those, definitely check those out when you guys get a chance. All right. So you guys should know who Shyheim is. He you know affiliated with Wu Tang. At one point he lived with a Ghostface Killer. He lived under him. He was under him for a little bit, that kind of thing. And he dropped first two classic albums in my opinion, aka The Rugged Child and The Lost Generation. I know a lot of people prefer his second album, The Lost Generation. It's like a more mature. It was like a more mature Shyheim as far as his pen, that kind of thing. So, and it's like kind of a dark album. So now moving along, right after the release of The Lost Generation '96, by that time, he had dropped the movie. He was in the movie The Original Gangsters, which is a very dope movie and a dope soundtrack as well. And then in '98, he was featured on the compilation album The Swarm Volume One. He had a song called Cold Defenders featuring Hellraiser of Sons of Man, which is a dope sound, a dope one, dope video, dope compilation. I was like one of my favorite albums to come out of the Wu camp and that kind of thing. It actually came out Wu Tang Records, so which is ironic because this album was also released on the Wu Tang Records, which I'll get into in a little bit. And then fast forward to 1999, he was featured in the movie Into Deep, and then he dropped this album right here, Manchild. All right. So I believe there's only like two singles off this album. The singles are Manchild, what there is a video for, and Furious Anger featuring Big L. The reason why I say Furious Anger is because that song was like all over, underground radio stations and that kind of thing, and there's that nature. All right, so let me show you what the album looks like. All right, has kind of like an orange theme to it, and I run like I'm wearing orange. It's kind of funny. All right, then you got this right here. So as you can see here, you got the Wu Tang Records record logo. So that means if you see this, you got this album. That means you have the OG pressing. If you have the 2001 reissue, that's from the Wu International. That's the same record label that Royal Fams Yesterday is Today, Tomorrow is Today. Some that album that I'm trying to get my hands on, man. That shit's like mad expensive. It's like hard to find because it was never released in the United States. It was only released overseas, particularly like in Europe, like in the UK and the Netherlands and stuff like that. So, and like I said, I think Silver Rings had something to do with that as well. But that's just my theory of that. But anyways, getting back to this album, the two singles, like I said, Furious Anger and Manchild. Manchild, like I said, is being the biggest single because of the video. But yeah. Now let's get into what the album looks like. As you see right here. Alright, Shyheim, all shirtless. Got probably his little brother with the two-tone do-rags. I remember that was very popular back in the late 90s, early 2000s. I remember cats, because like I lived in a blood neighborhood, so I knew cats who had the black and red two-tone do-rags and shit like that. So those are the days. You know what I'm saying? Alright, you can see Shyheim right here. You got Shyheim, and nothing too crazy. It's pretty much the same as the album cover. Alright. Show you guys what it looks like. Alright. You got Shyheim right here showing in this Project Hallways, Stairways, Stapleton. It's from Stapleton Projects. Same projects that Ghostface is from. Shyheim's like he's at a show or something like that. Pretty much the same cover, same picture. Then you got Wu Syndicate in stores now. dope fucking album. But it's my opinion. I think they should have kept their original name, which was Crime Syndicate. That would have been better in my opinion. But they chose it to Wu Syndicate. And, you know, it is what it is. That's another dope album. And they got with Maya Lansky and Joe Mafia. They got You God with Golden Arms Redemption, which I do have that album, which I think is a very slept on album. I know some people don't like that. A lot of people don't like that album. I do like it. I think it's dope. Even though sometimes You God is talking. Sometimes you don't know what the fuck he's talking about. Like the song Turbulence, I like the song, but I didn't know what the fuck he was talking about. He was just talking gibberish, but it sounded dope. You know, it's like so. And then you got with the children. You know what I'm saying? And I'm assuming this is Twin Glocks. I'm not sure who that is, but if you guys know, let me know who that is. Right? So this is like the shout outs and that kind of thing. Now let's get into the features of the album. The features of the album. Big L. And we got Ray J, Brandy's little brother. And let's see so we got Superb, rest in peace to Superb. Then we got Method Man, Infamous Blue Steel, aka Inf Blue, Squig Trust. Who else? PR Terrorist, aka Don Pacino. He had to drop that name because of the World Trade Center that happened back in 9/11. So he had because he was known as PR Terrorist at one point, but he had to drop that because, like I said, the Twin Towers 9/11. So he's calling himself Don Pacino. He's Puerto Rican, so for the PR. TMF, which is the hip hop duo, which consisted of Tommy Whispers and Tribe the God of Theodore Unit. But this was before Theodore Unit even existed, so just I throw it out there. Alright, so let's see who else. Little Vicious. Let's see who else. Infamous Blue Steel I mentioned before, and Jamie Summers. Those are the features of the album. Now let's get into the producers. Producers are Black Mozart, E Blast and Jimmy Swag. Let's see who else. Digger, Daryl Digger Branch. Digger, he was Cameron's in-house producer at one point. Did a lot of stuff for him on the first two albums. The Confessions of Fire and the SDE album. And he was also the main core producer for Children of the Corn. So that's how to throw it out there. He's an underrated producer. I think he's dope. He did Many Man for 50 Cent and that kind of thing. So far and so forth. Can't Stop, Won't Stop, that shit with Young Guns. I didn't really care for that song, to be honest with you. Blacksmiths, dope producer group, hip hop duo. They actually did the beat for Ghost Dini on the Supreme Clientele. But they also did the original version, which had the Diana Ross sample that they couldn't clear, which is actually on the Swarm album. The beat as that is the song Ruthless Bastards, the self-titled track for Ruthless Bastards, the hip hop group that was affiliated with Wu-Tang at one point. They used the original sample that Ghostface was supposed to use for Ghost Dini. It's on that. So if you guys want to know what it sounds like, just check that album out. Or you can just go on YouTube, just type in Ghost Dini OG or original. It'll pop up, that kind of thing. I believe you can only get that version on the Canadian version of Supreme Clientele. So I think that's like the only version you can get it from, which is ironic. But getting back to the Blacksmith, to the producers, Jimmy Swag I mentioned before. Digger I mentioned before. Let's see who else. Big L, which is kind of weird, but yeah. Golden Fingers. He actually did some production for Capadonna on the Pillage album, which is an underrated album, and Shogun Assassin of Killer Army does a beat on here too. So you know how I get down. I'm gonna go through some of the tracks like I usually do, break them down, that kind of thing. Alright, so track one, He samples like a dialogue from the movie. I didn't really get anything out of it. It kind of seemed pointless, to be honest with you. So that was track one. Track two, I Declare War. Dope way to start the album. Love the beat. The beat kind of has like kind of like a classical opera play kind of vibe to it. Really cool. Like kind of like a jazzy, classical piano type of feel. Pretty dope. Like kind of like chamber music, if in the sense, but it's a dope track right there. Um, like I said, that was produced by Black Mozart. I like the line when he said, "Machines just to keep you breathing. I'm beating increasing. I'm beef increasing. Bees and seasons. You could be my 8x10 photo. I'm in 120 in prison. I'm running you to your vision, squeezing for no reason. Make it so hot. Hot summer. Shyheim should be a season." Yeah, he killed that shit. So that was track two. I Declare War. I made a swig of water. So that was track two. I Declare War. Track three. Furious Anger. Produced by E Black and Jimmy Swag. Features Big L. This song is special to me because I remember first hearing this song back in the early 2000s. You know, this had to be like, I want to say 2001, 2000, 2000. I want to say 2001 because that's when I first discovered Kazaa, and the file sharing program we could download music for free and that kind of thing. It was like the Napster, that kind of thing on crack, and the shit that give you your computer viruses and shit like that. You gotta love those days, right? Morpheus, Soul Seek, and that kind of Soul Seek was my shit because Soul Seek you can actually download full albums, and that was kind of that shit was kind of dope. But yeah, getting back to Furious Anger, dope track, one of the best songs of the album in my opinion. Um, like I said, it was my introduction to both artists actually because I didn't know about Shyheim until like around 2001, so I would say safely to say it was my introduction to Shyheim. Um, I like the line by Big L when he said, "I done soul coke, soul crack, soul smoke, soul smack. Now I wanna go plat. Now can I get a smoke? Can I get a soul clap? It ain't no calling time out. Once I climb out the garbage can with two lines out and blow your spine out. I got your cats by a long shot. Every song hot. 130, 139 and Lennox is a strong block. Fire. Love that. Shaheem when he says niggas be acting like they hoodlums until they get shot or locked up, shot up or locked up. Now they bloods and Muslims in both pens, Benz banging like a Benz. Touch kid nothing thin, put his ear to his chin. Fire, love that shit. It's so true because when you get to prison, you're a gang member or whatever. Now you're a Muslim and shit. So that I've noticed that's been like a theme lately and stuff like that. So pretty interesting. All right. So that was track three, Furious Anger. Track four, Unconditional Love. Dope track right here. It's a very heartfelt track. In this song, he talks about how his mom she fell victim to drug addiction. I think she was into like heroin and things like that. And he also talks about how his mom passed away like years ago. I think like back in the late 2000s she passed away. That kind of thing. Um, and he talks about his aunt got his mom hooked into drugs, and the rest is history. Like just talks about how like he would get his mom into rehab to get help, but she's just you know how it is, man. If you worked with drug addicts or you have a family member that's in drug addiction, it's just it's like an ongoing battle. Like you have to want to get help. So it's like one of those things, and pretty much what he talks about on this track. It's a pretty dope track. At first, when I first heard it years ago, I didn't really like it, but then listening to it in recent times, like oh shit, it's not that bad of a track. But I like the line when he says, "My heart is gone, my mind is sore. It's desert storm. Can't believe it ain't gone. Seeing my twin for four. I'm mad tight. Pressure bust pipes." That's fucking deep. Love that shit. So that was track four, Unconditional Love. Like I like the beat. It definitely has. That was produced by Digger. It sounds like something that he would have made for Cameron, especially like from one of the first two albums with either Confessions of Fire or SDE. I could see that being more for SDE, if anything, just because it sounds more recent for that time period. So, because I think SDE at one point was supposed to come out in '99, but got pushed back. All right. So that was track 4. Track 5, Crime Story. Dope track, one of my favorite tracks of the album. Features Superb. Rest in peace to Superb. Um, I like the line by Shy when he said, grab the cash money and food stamps and jetted towards the whip. Jump start jump started the vehicle, drove a block or two, looked in the rear view, noticed the boys in blue. Then I busted U-turn. You could smell the rubber burn. I dust him like a wet bag of sherms. Woo! Killed that shit. Pretty much talked about, just having a shootout with the cops and, just like, being in a high speed chase and that kind of thing. Tells about his drug tales and his street tales and things like that. So that's what I got from the track, Crime Stories. One thing, because you could listen to this album on YouTube, but just be careful because um, it's the way it's sequenced on YouTube is wrong, because they have the song "One Life to Live" under Crime Story, and then Crime Story under One Life to Live. So, but yeah, just had to throw it out there. All right, so that was track 5, Crime Story. Track 6, Verses from the Arsenal. That's another dope track right there. In the beginning, you hear he has like a Tupac sample, the Five Deadly Venom song off the Street for My Niggas, when he says, "We're gonna go platinum, nigga," and he laughs and that kind of thing. So he kind of loops that a couple times, that kind of thing. So yeah, that like I said, that was produced by Shyheim and Jimmy Swag, featuring Squid Trust. Like I said, dope track. I like the line by Shy when he says, "Pop your inner two, flatline 728, crime time, putting that live shit till I die. I'm so high, can't even open my eyes. What did I do to MCs? Can't be televised. Blood everywhere, leave you terrified." He killed that shit. That was fucking dope. So it's track 6, Verses from the Arsenal. Track 7, One Life to Live. That's produced by Jimmy Swag. That's a posse cut. It features TMF, as I mentioned before, which is Trife the God or Trife Diesel, and Tommy Whispers of the Theater Unit at one point, and Don Pacino of Killer Army or PR Terrors at that time. I like the line by Shaw when he said, "Stay fresh like Doug. I run with the thugs. They'll cut your throat and sell your blood." I love that. Tommy Whispers when he says, "Look me eye to eye and see what you find. A crime nigga's non-spitter, mind digger, refined, power impact, cracking your spine. Mankind blow off the surface like landmines in my pastime. I saw it all. Had the broads cut your wig short like Demi Moore." Woo! Killed that. Don Pacino when he says, "It's like gunplay with my dart spray. Leave you scarred today. Mental washed away. I shoot like Hardaway. Your body parts decay. Slow lay. Too busy lusting the rolay. Plat in the face. I snatch you over arms. I take you out of space." Love that. Trife the God when he says, "Can't play street often. Become a victim of extortion for your fortune. Your bank rolls sank holes. You think I ain't cold? Run up in your crib. Take everything. Even the sink goes. You sweat like a pink rose. Can you smell it when you soft like velvet? Whoo! Catch one up in your helmet. Get dealt with it. Whoo! Killed that shit. The beat is dope too. It has a kind of like a dark feel to it. It's really dope. One Life to Live, dope shit. Then we're gonna go to track 8, Manchild, which was which was the single. There's a video for that. Let me get a swig of water. Yeah. So track 8, Manchild, another dope track right there. That was produced by Nasheed Merrick. It was actually the first single of the album. It features Papa Wu. So I forgot to mention that Taquita, she's another dope R&B singer. Taquita, we need an album from you, yo. We need a fucking RZA. I know you got an album of hers in the vaults, man. That shit needs to come out, man. For real, for real. In this song, he talks about living through hard times, grew up in the hood back in the 80s and 90s, whatever the case may be. Um, and like I said, I talked about how like both his mom and his aunt was heroin addicts and that kind of thing. How his aunt got his mom hooked into heroin, that kind of thing, and his aunt um actually ended up dying from AIDS, due to like the needle and that kind of thing, which is kind of crazy. It's kind of a sad track, you know what I mean? You kind of feel for the guy. Um, there's a line where he says, "I got bad nerves. It's absurd. I'm disturbed. So I suggest you watch your words, what you blur out your mouth, or it'll be a shootout. I'll leave you out stressed out. I'm thugged inside and out, and it ain't by choice. I'm screaming out loud for love. Do anything, hear my voice. Part of the noise. I'm just a black ghetto boy. Went through the rain and pain. Where's the sunshine and joy? I can't see the fun. Trapped in the black cloud. Watching my life go down to hide and suffering. I smile." So yeah, he just talks about how, growing up, he was just, he had a bad temper because, he just never found love in the home. It's just like his mom was busy, just doing what she do. And unfortunately, when you're in active addiction, you're gonna do what you gotta do to get that high. You know what I'm saying? And the thing is, it's not always the drug. It's more mental. That's what people need to understand. So yeah, it's just sad. And he talks about how he was just like a hot tempered guy. So like any little thing would set him off. So and it was because of how he grew up, and he just talks about that. So that's yeah, you can definitely feel for the guy. You know what I'm saying? So that was definitely a heartfelt track. Um, Track 9, "Am I My Brother's Keeper?" That was produced by a blacksmith. It features Method Man and infamous Blue Steel or If Blue. Um, yeah, I didn't really care for the song. Didn't really like the beat. Method Man's verse was kind of subpar in my opinion. Um, I don't know. Maybe Method Man himself wasn't really feeling the beat. In my personal opinion, maybe that's why he kind of gave us subpar. Because Method Man is nasty, but even for Method Man, his verse on this shit was kind of weak, and I didn't really like the beat for that. So that was like a skip for me. Track 10, "Club Scene." That's another dope track. In this song, he talks about how it is in the New York club scene, the nightlife in New York, like how he perceives the club scene, that kind of thing. He talks about how, when he gets there, it's like all love. The bouncer lets him in. He's treated like a celebrity. You know what I'm saying? And how he doesn't dance, he just chills, and that kind of thing. And yeah, and then he, by 4 o'clock, time to roll. He does his thing, grab his girl, whatever the girl he gets for the night, does what he got to do, and that's pretty much it, man. Um, I like the line where he said, "I got my drink in my right hand, left hand in my pants. I don't dance, just be lounging my b-boy stance. Respect my gangster, move like an army at war. Split some woolly in the air. We slid out the door about a quarter to 4, jumped in the 4x4, smooth like for law. Woo, killed that shit." That was another joint produced by Digger. Again, another joint that I could see like Cam, using around like the SDE era. Definitely around that time period. So pretty cool. Track 11, "Spectacular," featuring Little Vicious or Vicious. Um, that was produced by the Blacksmiths, like I said before. Um, Dope track. I like the line by Shy when he says, "What's the verdict? Guilty, how many times I've heard it. Shyheim should be locked down, murdered. I'm too dirty for detergent, so fuck Tide. I bring drama, ask your honor. My rap sheet question, queen possession of a number, stabbing niggas, knives, observation, direction sells 20 dimes." Fucking dope. Dope shit right there. Lil Vicious, you guys should know he put out that album Destination Brooklyn with the Glock. Little Nicky, that kind of Nika, Lil Nika, or the song Nika, I think it was. He had a song called Life of a Shorty with Shyheim. I remember for years there was rumors of Vicious getting killed. Oh, Lil Vicious, he died and blah 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 blah. This was like back in the early 2000s. Then I'm like, damn, he died, but he's alive, so he didn't die or anything like that. So that's how to throw that out there. Because I remember that was like a rumor back in the early 2000s, like, yo, whatever happened to Little Vicious? And this he got killed in the 90s or some shit like that. Right now, he's alive, so I had to throw that out there. That I could think of, because we would have heard that he died or something like that, but this is before social media. Track 12, Twin Glocks. Didn't really care for that song. When the song Twin Glocks, he talks about his cousin that got killed and that kind of thing, and then he wants to avenge his cousin's death and that kind of thing, shoot shit, that kind of thing. But I didn't really care for the beat, so I could have done without that, honestly. Um, Another track, Trust Is On, track 13, Trust Is On. That was produced by Big L, featuring infamous Blue Steel. Again, the beat was whack. The fact that Big L made the beat was kind of I'm glad he stuck to rhyming and not producing. I'm kind of glad for that. Excuse me, sorry, getting over a cold. So, yeah, I'm glad Big L stuck to the rhymes and not production. But yeah, and track 14, the last track, Ceasefire Wildflower 2000. Dope way to end the album. I love the beat for this song. Um, this is pretty much like a sequel to Ghostface's Wildflower that was on the Iron Man album. And it was, to me, it was also an ode to domestic violence by RZA off the Bobby Digital Stereo album that came out in '98, which I think is a very slept on album. I know a lot of people hate that album because of the production. Mainly for the production, because I thought it was dope, but that's a whole different story. But that was produced by Shogun, Assassin of Killer Army, and it features Jamie Summers. Which ironically, that beat actually sounds like something RZA would have done around that time period. You know what I mean? But it's a dope, nice piano. It's kind of like a dark piano, very fucking dope. Like I said, to me, if you like domestic violence and Wildflower, then you'll definitely enjoy this song. Very misogynistic, that kind of thing. But again, I love my women, but this is all in entertainment. So, I like the line when he said, "She wandered by the gynecologist, Queen Fish be on the beach, drinking old English with legs, wings, and thigh and breast. The chicken head click. If you started a group, your logo would be a dick shoved in the kill 'em lips. Wouldn't give a nigga blue ball if there was Crips." Man, that's fucking dope. All right, my overall thoughts to this album. I like the album. I don't feel like it's a classic album. There are some drawbacks with the album. For me, some of it was the production, like the song "In My Brother's Keeper," "Twin Glocks," and "Trust Is On." Just like the three songs I could have done without. Honestly, they didn't really do anything for me. Um, the intro I could have done without too. That was kind of pointless. Yeah. Also, the thing with this album, I've noticed with Shy, um, I feel like if you listen, I feel like he did a lot of punching in. Like it's just like, if you guys know about punching in, it means like when you try to put a whole bunch of words to fit into the stanza of the bar, and that's why he sounded like he did a lot of it. It's like he kind of like rushed through the process, kind of in the veins of like PMD with Shady Business, but not as bad. Um, but that's the vibes I got from this album when he started rhyming. Whereas the first two albums, he was more relaxed, he's more chill. He was like on beat. This album, he was kind of like off beat. I don't know. It was like he was kind of like meeting a deadline, or like he was going through some shit at that time. He had legal issues. It was kind of impeding into that. Now, with that being said, I do feel like this album seems a little rushed, in my personal opinion. Um, but it's not a bad album. But I do think that you should definitely own it. If you're a Wu head, if you're a Shyheim head, like I am, definitely, if you could definitely pick it up, if you could find it, because this album, like I said, is long out of print. It's very hard to find. It's very expensive. I got lucky and I got it for like 27. It was like 24.99 on eBay. So I ended up paying like what, the like $26 or something like that. But yeah, I'm so glad I got my hands on it, because like I said, this album is long out of print, and being that it was released under Wu-Tang Records, I don't even think there was any promo of this album. There was like one of those things that the album just came and went. You know, there was no promo or anything like that. That kind of thing. I don't think, like that I could think of. Um, this album was just like, it just came out of nowhere. It's like under the radar. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is. And around this time, the Wu Tang was kind of losing their steam because, this was like the time period when a lot of the Wu members like was putting out the second tier of the releases. Like Method Man, he dropped his To Cal 2000 out, which I fucking love. But I know some people didn't like it because of the skits, which I think is fucking stupid. But at least the skits had something to do with it. It had something pertaining to, to the song coming up. Then you have Raekwon's Immobility, which people are kind of have a mixed bag about. That kind of thing. The late nineties wasn't really too good for the Wu. Depending, but that could be subjective. Because I enjoyed Inspector Deck's Uncle So Substance that came out in '99. That was a dope album, very slept on. But yeah, that's just my thoughts. I thought it was good. It could have been a little bit better. I just think as far as like maybe some of the production, but mostly his delivery. That was the thing that kind of bothered me a little bit. Was he just it sounded like he was trying to punch in a lot of his rhymes and just didn't sound good. It didn't sound as fluid as the first two albums when he rapped. But like again, I think it's probably because he was going through things. He was probably going through some legal troubles around that time period. If you guys know, let me know. Put it in the comment sections like you guys usually do. But and then, like I said, this album at the time was really hard to come by. It was very expensive. It's hard to come by, and let alone like when it was re-released in 2001, it was released under Wu International, meaning that the Wu International version was only available overseas, particularly in Europe, the UK, and the Netherlands. So just something to throw out there. Wu-Tang Records folded afterwards, which made that one even harder to find. So. But yeah, and it's under Priority Records as well. But I'm glad I got it because, like I said, this is how it usually goes for Arm and Leg. It goes for Kilo Press. I've seen it go for like $80, $100 online now. So it fluctuates. I remember seeing it for like $60, and then I saw it for $24.99 at one like a couple months ago, back in the summertime, and I was waiting like we get paid, and then I was gonna go get it. And by the time I got paid and I looked for it, it was gone. So, luckily enough, like a couple months later, I found it. I was like, let me get that shit. Picked it up, $24.99. Boom. So I got it. But yeah, Shyheim, Manchild, released in 1999. Let me know what you guys think about this album. Y'all be easy. Definitely stay tuned for more videos, alright? Peace!